Hey everyone! If you're looking for natural, organic foods that solve real dietary problems and actually keep you healthy, you're in exactly the right place. In today's Explainer, we're looking at a mysterious American superfood. And I mean, this stuff predates the United States itself. It solves so many of the healthy eating problems we face today, yet somehow it's completely flying under the radar.
So let me ask you a question. Can you guess what this food is? I'll give you a quick hint. It's incredibly high in protein, entirely gluten-free, grows completely wild in American lakes, and was harvested by hand from canoes for centuries before this country even existed. Any guesses? The crazy part is, despite all these incredible health benefits, almost nobody in America actually eats it.
We're talking about a food that literally checks every single box for a clean, organic diet. I mean, a gluten-free, high-protein superfood harvested from canoes? Come on. And I'm not talking about that generic rubbery box stuff you might be picturing in the grocery store aisle. No way! We're talking about real, authentic, wild rice, harvested the exact same way Native Americans have done it for over 500 years.
Okay, let's dive into this. The Ojibwe people call this incredible plant monomen, which translates to good berry, or literally precious grain. You see, they didn't just view this as another crop to munch on. To them, it was a profound prophetic gift. Their ancient migration story actually says they were guided by prophecy to travel west all the way to the Great Lakes region until they reached the specific place where, quote, food grows on water.
But here's the first research fact that completely shocks most people. Wild rice is not actually rice at all. Mind-blowing, right? Real rice comes from a plant in Asia. Wild rice, on the other hand, is the seed of a tall aquatic grass that grows naturally in the shallow lakes and rivers of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and parts of Canada. In fact, it's the only true grain native to North America. And because it's a completely different plant, it has a totally different nutritional profile.
Just look at the protein. 1 cup of cooked wild rice contains about 6.5 grams of protein. That is a massive number for a food most people mistakenly write off as just another starchy side dish. If you're trying to build a clean, organic diet that genuinely solves your nutritional needs, this number is huge.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what I mean. With 6.5 grams per cup, wild rice packs more protein than brown rice and almost double the protein of standard white rice. It completely dominates the alternatives. It makes it an incredibly efficient way to hit your daily macros without relying on heavily processed foods.
But the benefits definitely don't stop at protein. Wild rice also delivers around 3 grams of fiber per cup, which is several times what you get from white rice. Plus, it's an absolute powerhouse lineup of minerals and vitamins. I'm talking magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, zinc, and B vitamins like niacin and folate. If you're looking for a whole food to clean up your diet and boost your immune system naturally, this is the perfect solution.
But what makes wild rice genuinely special from a health perspective, and honestly, the part that scientists are most excited about, are the antioxidants. Studies in food chemistry journals show wild rice is packed with phenolic compounds. Basically, these are natural plant antioxidants that fight the oxidative stress directly linked to aging, inflammation, and chronic disease. Researchers at the University of Minnesota have actually documented that wild rice has higher antioxidant activity than white rice, and it easily competes with brown rice.
Beyond antioxidants, wild rice has a significantly lower glycemic index than white rice. This is so important because it means it raises your blood sugar slowly. So, instead of that sudden spike and inevitable exhausting crash you get with white rice, wild rice keeps your energy steady. It keeps you genuinely satisfied and full for hours. It's basically a quiet powerhouse for your metabolic health.
Now let me tell you about the people who discovered it, because the cultural heritage here is absolutely beautiful. The Ojibwe, also known as the Chippewa, have harvested wild rice from these exact same lakes for generations. And listen, this isn't just a casual agricultural hobby. It is a deeply respected, sacred family tradition that is completely fundamental to their way of life.
In late summer, whole families go out onto the water in canoes. One person pulls the boat slowly through the rice beds, while another uses 2 wooden sticks called knockers to gently tap the grain right into the boat. It's hard, careful, hand-harvested work that hasn't changed in hundreds of years. They offer tobacco to the water as a sign of respect before beginning, and they take only what is needed, ensuring the plant thrives for the next year. Talk about the ultimate organic, sustainable food source.
The historical weight of this plant is just incredible. Harvested long before the 1500s by Native Americans, it actually became a vital survival food for early European settlers in the 1700s, who called it the grain that walks on water. By 1977, it was so important it became Minnesota's state grain. And get this, in 2021, the White Earth Band of Ojibwe granted legal rights to the manoomin plant itself. They declared it has a legal right to exist, flourish, and regenerate. That's how precious it is.
So, the crucial point is this. Before you run out to the grocery store, you really need to know the consumer catch. It's a frustrating truth, but not everything sold in boxes labeled as wild rice is the authentic, organic superfood we've been talking about. There are commercial imitations out there, and as a smart consumer focused on your health, you need to know exactly what to look for.
When checking your labels, look for True Lake Wild Rice. This is hand-harvested by native harvesters, features varied grains, and has a deep, earthy, nutty flavor. In contrast, try to avoid cultivated paddy rice. That stuff is grown in man-made flooded fields, mostly in California, and it's bred for yield rather than flavor, with large, uniform grains. If you want the authentic health experience and the true texture, you want the real lake rice. And hey, the fact that the natural grains cook a bit unevenly, that creates a wonderful variety of textures that is totally an amazing feature, not a bug.
Now, let's pivot to practical application. How do you actually prepare this in your own kitchen? I promise you, cooking this superfood is incredibly easy. You absolutely do not need to be a professional chef to make this a staple of your healthy diet.
Preparing this is super straightforward. First, just rinse the wild rice in cold water. Then, combine 1 cup of the rice with 3 cups of water, or better yet, bone broth for extra nutrients. Bring it to a boil, drop the heat, cover it, and simmer for 45 to 60 minutes. You'll know it's perfectly done when those beautiful grains split open and literally curl to reveal their tender centers. Just drain any extra liquid, fluff it with a fork, and you are good to go.
And it's so versatile, you guys. It freezes beautifully, making it perfect for your weekly meal prep. You can toss it cold into salads, mix it with warm roasted vegetables or soups, or simply serve it right next to some organic chicken or wild-caught salmon. The nutty flavor pairs incredibly well with mushrooms, onions, cranberries, and fresh herbs. Healthy eating should taste amazing, and this absolutely does.
But we do have to talk about the threats this incredible food is facing. Real lake wild rice is not as easy to find as it used to be. Climate change, rising water levels, invasive species, and shifting regulations are heavily threatening these pristine natural lakes. The harvests have become really unpredictable, and scientists warn that if these wild stands disappear, they are gone forever.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the impact you can have just by changing your grocery habits. When you buy real lake wild rice, you aren't just buying a healthy grain for your body, you're actively voting with your wallet. You are supporting the native harvesters, protecting the lakes themselves, and helping to keep a beautiful, sustainable 500-year-old tradition alive.
Let's rapidly summarize why you need this in your pantry. It's native to North America. It boasts massive protein and fiber compared to standard rice. It has a low blood sugar impact to keep your metabolism steady. It's 100% gluten-free, and it is a wildly sustainable, deeply cultural food. You don't need exotic superfoods shipped from across the planet when we have this incredible nutritional powerhouse right here in our own backyard. Honestly, it's time to skip the boring white rice forever.
So I want to hear from you. As we face epidemics of modern dietary diseases, isn't it time we looked back to the native, ancient wisdom growing right in our own waters? Have you ever actually tried authentic lake wild rice? Let me know down in the comments right now. I read every single one, and your specific health journey might just inspire our next explainer. If you learned something useful today that'll help you stay healthy, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on the organic, researched facts you need. Stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.